So, hello everyone, my name is Rokaya Jamaly. I am an Atlas Corps alumni and I was from class 41. So, I am passionate about youth empowerment and I have worked in many governmental institutes and non-profits and also international corporations dealing with youth empowerment issues and especially projects in employability. But this project, the Hope Travel project, is the dearest to my heart because it didn't start as employability, it started somewhere else and it ended up going to a generating income project. So let me walk you through this project. Okay, so first let me just tell you the framework that we use within JCI. So the project was made within JCI, Junior Chamber International, and this is a framework that we use to generate projects, right? So we start by need assessment, as you do in any project, then development, the execution phase, and monitoring and evaluation throughout the cycle, and also partnerships and stakeholder engagement throughout the cycle. And I'm going to show you how that translates into the Hope Travel project. Okay, so analyze the community needs. So we were based in Casablanca, and we had received a claim from a small city named Ouarzazate in a small town within the suburbs of that city, saying that, hey, the children from our households, when they get to school, they have lower grades than other kids. Like, how is that even possible? Like, why? Why would they have that? So we started analyzing by going to the community, asking them. We started analyzing the curriculum to see the reason why that happened. So it turns out that the curriculum is built in a way that when you are in first grade, you are supposed to already have had preschool, right? You can't just go there. And in that community, they didn't have a preschool. So from the get-go, they wouldn't be able to get good grades. Okay, but why weren't they able to get help from their families? They weren't able to because once someone gets to high school, they have to go to the city to complete their school. And once they do, they have to look for employment elsewhere. Okay, why don't they come back to their village and work there? Because the village used to rely on agriculture, which is no longer possible because of drought. So these are the issues that we have identified within the community. So we have devised the project into 3 phases. The first phase was the preschool. Okay, what do we need to have a preschool? We need a qualified educator, right? Someone who's gonna teach the kids, someone who's gonna take care of them, a structure to manage the preschool. Because a building, even though we equip it, what's the tell that by 1 year, by 2 years, it's still going to be working? It could work for 1 year, for 1 school year, and then it would stop working because there is no one to manage it, right? And also, it also needs funds, like for the equipment, for the books, for everything that the children would need, they would need funding, right? The second part was the drought part. So for the drought, we needed a source of water, right? We needed energy to extract the water, right, and distribute it. And we needed a mechanism to distribute the water, and we needed to make sure that the water that we have, we preserve so that it wouldn't run out like after 1 or 2 years. For the third part of the project was generating income. So we needed plantations because we're talking about agriculture, right? We needed to shift their mindsets from I am planting something to eat it and after harvest to I am planting something so that afterwards I can produce something out of it and I can sell it and make an income out of it, right? So that's what we had to work on and to introduce them to mechanisms about cooperations and entrepreneurship. Okay, so here are the execution phases. So what we did is that in the first part, this is a project that we started back in 2013, and that is still ongoing. And the team that is working on it is a team of volunteers, 100% volunteers. None of us is getting paid to do the things that we are doing. Okay, so the first part was the training of, we found a volunteer from the village who we trained. We managed to form a non-profit, and we trained them in project management, we trained them in administrative stuff, and so on, so that they would be able to sustain that preschool. And the second part for the drought, we managed to equip a well with solar energy powered pump, so that they wouldn't have to pay for the fuel or anything, not fuel, like anything that would power that pump, right? And we managed to get that project, after the technical feasibility, it would cost $40,000. So we managed to involve the government with a funding of 70%, and the rest we organized actions to fundraise, to have like money. We organized like trainings, we organized travels to have money in order to fund the rest of the project. And the third part was to identify the actors of the ecosystem, of the entrepreneurial ecosystem, and to identify and make partnerships with governmental structures to help them with that entrepreneurial shift. So yeah, this project, to me, this is why I called it the journey to empowerment, because it started as a small project about small kids who didn't get good grades. Any other nonprofit would have been like, okay, let's just do, let's volunteer and give them support courses, and that way they would have good grades, which is a good thing to do. But on the long run, once those volunteers leave, those children are still going to be having the same problems. So to me, this is why we had to think about a sustainable solution going through, even though it went from education to agriculture to entrepreneurship. So yeah, this is the Hope Travel journey to empowerment. Thank you so much. These are my contact information if you'd like to join me. To contact me, that's what I meant to say. So do you guys have any questions? Yes.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for the presentation. Is it true that volunteering works against quality and accountability? Like it's not easy to hold the volunteers accountable for
100%. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So this was one of the. I am most proud of this project, but at the same time, this was one of the most hardest project to implement. Because of that, because it takes a long time, it's hard to engage volunteers for such a long time. I worked in other programs where we would engage volunteers, but it was for one-shot actions, right? They come in, they do stuff, and they go, but not like this type of project. So 100%. So what we did is everything that's here is documented, like the people, anything you can think of is processed. Like we have processes. And contact information sheets and everything, so that the information doesn't get lost when people go, that the project doesn't depend on the people who implement it. Sorry.
Thank you.
All right.